Hickok 45 here. I thought maybe some of you would appreciate some good close-up shots of what a $10,000 single action looks like. One that old, that antique, that actually still works. You just can't imagine how valuable it could be, especially to me. John bought that for me, so I just really like it for Christmas. So I'm going to shoot it, even though it's that valuable, right? Don't you think I should? You saw it in the short a few weeks ago, maybe. And, many of you, some of you were impressed with that old gun, how it still shoots. So, should I quit joking around? Yeah, it's not an antique. This is a Uberti, okay? It's a Richards conversion of a percussion 1860 Army, okay? It's one that Uberti did in Italy and imported over here. And it is a darn good job on it, isn't it? Because a lot of you were fooled into short that you thought it was an antique, but no, it's just like $600-700 depending on where you find it. It's a modern firearm. That's why I can fire modern ammo in it, and that's what I'm about to do. Okay, I can hold right on the bottom of it, no trouble. What did I tell you? If I want to hit that black plate right there, same thing, or that bowling pin right there. Yeah. So who needs sights? It should be empty. You know why? Because I loaded 5 like you should in an old single action. Now it's not old, but it's old action. Yeah. So yeah, again, this is a Richards conversion. I've gone through this in several of the videos. Check them out on some of the converted, old reproductions, and Richards, usually Richards Mason, type 1, type 2, and all that sort of thing. I'm not going to make this a big video on that, but at the end of the Civil War, Colt had a lot of these, right? A lot of parts after the Civil War. Between 1865 and 1873, the big year when the Colt single action came out, as far as Colt's concerned, their first really big metallic cartridge, firearm. You had the open top, but the 45 Colt. All these parts and all these old guns, and there were probably gunsmiths all over the country taking them because these things were in the possession of so many people, whether it's the 1851 Navy or the 1860 Army and others that were percussion. And by that, if you're brand new to this world, they had to load from the front, put the powder in and load from the front, slow to load and all that. Didn't use a metallic cartridge. And so there were things they could do to turn them into a cartridge gun, and they were actually cheaper than even after the Colt single action came out, the open top. You could get one of these that had been converted for less money, and so that was an attraction. And just up close work didn't really matter that much. Now this one's a little different because it's such a short barrel, 3.5 inch barrel, so it's kind of like a sheriff's model sort of thing. You're not going to be picking off anything at long range, right? But it's a neat little configuration, isn't it? So you thought I lost track, didn't you? No. So briefly, Smith & Wesson owned the patents and on the bored through cylinders, so they could go ahead and start making cylinders like this and that use metallic cartridges, which they did, like on some earlier firearms of theirs. But Colt could not do that, and so until like 73, and so the Roland White patent, so they they would take these and install this plate back here. They'd saw off the cylinder, because you got the nipples and all that, where you get there's closed back there. They'd saw that off, open it up, and put this in here, and they'd put the sight. The first ones had the sight, I think, on that ring right here. This one has it on the hammer, such as it is, right? But on their very early one, I think type 1s, I believe it was right there, correct me if I'm wrong, that was type 1. And then this is type 2, where they put it on the hammer, moved it to the hammer. And they put the loading gate on there and everything. And then the longer barrel ones, of course, had an ejection rod they would install on the barrel. And we've shown you those in videos. Maybe I'll link to one of those. And they turn it into a cartridge gun. Not quite as ergonomic maybe, or as smooth operating as a Colt single action of 1873, but not bad. At least you didn't have to go through all that to load it. You could open it up, put it on half cock, and put a bullet in just like this. Why don't we do that? appreciate their support. Can I shoot it again? Okay. Now I'm not going to do any long range shooting, so let me walk up here. Not much anyway. Let me hold on to Cowboy. You know, the windage I think I can manage. Yeah. How about a 2-liter there that is, or about a bowling pin. Woo. I think it went through it. It's all shot up. I'm gonna put one out there at the gong. No way I'll hit it probably, but yeah, probably went a little bit high. So anyway, pretty cool, no doubt about it. Pretty nice Christmas present. And that short I did, you know, I said I got this as a Christmas gift while you got socks. You know, I was just having fun rubbing that. It's funny, I saw a lot of people, I'd rather have socks. I got socks and I like my socks. Don't make fun of my socks. You know, this is what I do. Say goofy things sometimes. And oh, I did have a round. Okay, I thought I was out. Okay. Then I shot 5. Did he shoot 4 or did he shoot 5? He shot 4. So that's why you always keep them pointed in the right direction and you don't do anything stupid with your firearm, right? Okay, so let's put some federal ammo in this thing. Also, so that's a pretty gun, isn't it? I mean, that's a good looking gun. You really could fool somebody, you know, especially if you messed up the grips a little bit. The grips look a little new, but they're doing a pretty good job. I think some of the early firearms like this that they were trying to give the antique look, they didn't look that antique. They just looked like somebody tried to make them look antique, right? Well, these you could say the same thing maybe once you know. But, and I have some weathered firearms, patinaed and old, you know, over 100 years old, 125 years old. And so I'm fairly impressed with the look, and I know what the look should be. So do you, if you've seen all of our videos. So let's fire some of this federal ammo. And again, the conversion, even though it looks old, you know, you can fire modern. You don't want to shoot magnums in any 45 Colt, of course, but and then of course, by the way, the 1860 Army was a 44, and I think even after the conversion, that did not turn it into a 45, you know. But the heel type bullets of the day and those cartridges and things, they were ended up being bigger, needed a bigger bore, so they shot 44 cartridge, I believe, 44 Colt, I think, after they converted them, at least the 1860 Army. The 1851 Navy, after the conversion, it was a 38, you know, of course. All right, so this we can shoot jacketed ammo and everything. Should be a problem. Let me take a couple out there at long range just for kicks. I'm gonna hold down enough to where if I miss, it hopefully will be in the leaves. And I can see where. There's no sight. I'm looking for a sight. I saw that, I think. One more. I got him. Oh yeah, pretty cool. That's a smarter way to do it. Not that I'm famous for doing it the smart way, but I could see it hit the leaves, at least a couple of those. I could tell kind of where I was going. But then, oh, I saw that one. Yeah, it was like whatever, a foot below the gong. And then my next thought instantly is, okay, but where was I holding? You know, it's because you have no sight and nothing over there to index on, unless I tried hold on that brown leaf over there. Yeah. So anyway, it's fun messing around. And there's another brilliant point I was going to make there that I forgot. Oh yeah, I know I was going to say. You know, I've never gotten over that. If you've ever read Elmer Keith, Six Guns is the book, kind of the Bible of Elmer Keith, and he talks about when he was young. This would have been back in like the early 1900s. He died in 1955, I think, somewhere in there. But he was a famous gun writer and shooter, hunter, handgun hunter, a Magnum. You've heard his name. He was very instrumental in 357 Magnum, 44 Magnum, and others. But he had a 44 4-inch was his pet gun, 4-inch Model 29, and he would he would bring in the cattle that way. You know, they were on the far hill way over there, and rather than call them or go over there and herd them or whatever, he'd take his 4-inch 44, and he would be further than that, you know, like hundreds of yards maybe, and he would lob slugs in front of them to scare them a little bit so they'd turn around and go the other way, and he would kind of lead them to move in the opposite direction to bring them toward the barn or whatever he's doing with them. Now, I'm not advising you do that, okay? But I always thought that was interesting. I mean, firearms have lots of purposes that some people haven't figured out yet. You know, I've discovered a few of those, trimming trees and, you know, whatever. I would not advise you to remove a wart with one, but, you know, it's probably been done, right? Or a tick. All right, load 5, the old standard way. I'll just shoot these 5 and let you go, probably. Made my day. I hit the gong. It only took 5 or 6 shots, right? So, pretty cool little gun. Really is. Good little belly gun. Just needs to be shot as soon as I get my ears back in. Went over him. Whoa! Let's hit that bowling pin right there. Oh, how did I do that? I didn't count my rounds, did I? Can I put one more in? I gotta hit that bowling pin. All right, hope you don't mind. Gotta do that. Thought I just shot 4. You know, even without a sight, if you're up close, and, you know, you just rely on instinct, and, you know, since I don't have a front sight, I'll put 2 in. How's that? I'll bring it around. That'll give me an excuse to shoot 2. All right. Got him. So I got to get him again. No, we'll shoot that plate. All right. So those were the 2. It is the Uberti Richards conversion. Okay. And again, Richards. You know, these are just random names to a lot of people, right? Including me. I didn't know the guy, but I was reading a little bit about that once, and I think he was a, you know, someone doesn't usually just drop out of the sky and invent something. You know, you look into their history. On the positive side, you know, same for the negative side. When you hear about someone who does something crazy or violent, you know, and wow, well, what's that all about? Well, you start finding out, don't you, slowly. Well, yeah, well, it just so happens that he had threatened about 18 people, you know, and his family and well, so-called friend or whatever, you know. It's kind of the same way if someone is a bit of a genius or has some great ideas, probably not their first, right, rodeo. Richards, I read, I didn't know this, he was invented he was an engineer, like, and he invented something to do with a steam engine that was like the greatest improvement in the steam engine of the day, right? Now, I know we're not praising him today because you have a better steam engine than you would have had, but as far as the steam engine in the day, he came up with something that was like an incredible improvement for it. And he worked for 3 different, I think, firearms companies, came back to Colt, you know, in mid 1860s or something, you know, started working on these ideas. And so, and he and Mason kind of perfected that. But it's just a good thing there are some smart people out there, right? They help make up for people like you and me, or at least me. I can't speak for you. So we get to enjoy the fruits of their labor, the fruits of their genius. And while this is not exactly high tech for the year, you know, 2023, think about it. You know, if you have one of these instead of the old percussion revolver, and what you had to go through to load it, this is like having a Glock 18. You know, if the year is whatever, 1869 or 70 or something. So anyway, cool little gun, glad to have it. So appreciate y'all coming around, taking a look at it with us. Life is good.
Oh yeah, that's better. This is a great gun for defense. Oh hey, didn't see you guys there. While I've got you here, I want to remind you of our friends over at Talon Grips and Ballistol. Talon Grips makes grips, can you believe it, for all different types of firearms. You can get rough texture or more of a rubberized texture. It just sticks right on there. You know, really affordable, really cool option to improve the grip for your handguns or rifles. So please check them out at talongungrips.com. You'll be glad you did. And also Ballistol. Dad has been using Ballistol for many years. It's a cleaner and a lubricant, and it's non-toxic. It works really great, and we're happy to have them on board since it's been a part of our shooting endeavor for a very long time. So go to ballistol.com, talongungrips.com, and also while you're out there, I'm juggling all these things here. Also, while you're on the internet, please do check out our other social media like Hickok45 on Facebook. There's also Hickok45 on Twitter, The Real Hickok45 on Instagram. There's a John_Hickok45 on Instagram where I do some things. There's Hickok45.com. You can find us also on Gunstreamer. So check out all that stuff and then watch more videos.